Hi, this is Sabi. Welcome back to the channel. It's a battle on the Erlenburg map, and we're following Bandito Jr. from Pity Clan, and also welcome to the clan. The vehicle in question is the VK72.01K, which is a Clan Wars reward vehicle. What's the difference between a reward vehicle and a premium tank is a common question, and the main difference is that it doesn't have the economic earning power of a premium tank, which is generally lowered repair costs. It's pretty much the same as its tech tree equivalent, the Panzerkampfwagen 7, which is almost identical in layout and armour thickness, etc. But it does have the premium vehicle's capability of swapping crews in and out without penalty, so they don't have to be trained for the vehicle. So any German heavy crew can be used here. In any case, it's headed towards the centre of the town, which is where heavy tanks generally battle. Got hit in crossing there, and a bit of a traffic jam there. But you can see there's a big mound of rubble in front of him, which will protect his lower front plate. Now he's got a heat round loading, and it's just checking his targets, just touched by Artie slightly there, and just aiming for the roof of the Super Conch, and did a good shot there. 805 hit points of damage. Now, going for the roof, you can see that's a very sort of ricochet type angle, but the calibre of the gun here, which is 15 centimetres or 150 millimetres, it overmatches the roof armour. Overmatching means the rule is 3 times the thickness of the armour. As long as the calibre of the gun exceeds that, then it will basically penetrate regardless of the angle. So given that roof armour is relatively thin and you can shoot down on it, then yeah, with such a massive gun, I think this is the biggest calibre in the game. Not necessarily the only tank with that calibre, of course, but that's basically one of its capabilities. That's also a pretty high tank as well. Yeah, given the Super Conch are noted for its turret armour, that's definitely one of the weaknesses of it. Alright, let's back to the battle. So he's battling here. This is Jagdpanzer E100 there, which has got also pretty high alpha, but he gets taken out by the E3, and he's looking at the sides of tanks here, or potentially some angles as well. So not going to be a great angle there. Now he just aimed there for the cupola of the E4, but the tank itself moved just as he fired, so that shot just went slightly wide. And he's reloading HE shells. Now, why would you do that when you've got an 800 hit point, 330 millimeter penetration shell? And it's fundamentally because if you're aiming at parts of a tank that you're likely to ricochet off, or so thick that you'll bounce and you won't do any damage with a heat shell, it's essentially going to do damage with HE regardless of whether it penetrates or not. And with the calibre of the gun, you can see that HE shells do a reasonable amount of damage per hit. So again, being one of the large calibre guns, SIS-4 does 180 hit points of damage. Might not seem a lot, but it will add up. Now, of course, one of the other advantages of HE shells is they're relatively inexpensive, so it doesn't cost you a lot to use them. And here he's going to take a shot at the E3. Now he does get whacked by the E3 there, but the tank itself, 2750 hit points of damage. He's still basically operating in pretty safe mode here. Would take quite a few shots still to kill him, or at least 2 shots of the E4 or the E3. And here he's lit, of course. They're in relatively close combat. You can see from the view range circles that they're all within about 100 meters of each other. And he's just looking for an angle on these tanks. Now, just got a slight narrow shot there, which went straight through, so helpful with the closeness there. The dispersion didn't exceed the width of that panel, but he did get a bit of hit there from an FV4005, and the direction indicates that it was on the hill, so that makes this position pretty dangerous. And you can see Bandito is reacting to that, both pulling back and working out basically what option he's got next, where to go to have an impact on the game. So he's got just over 3,200 hit points of damage, which is good. Definitely exceeding his own hit points there, which is his standard measure. But he's noticed that the west side of the map there doesn't have any support on there, and there's two enemy tanks there, an STB-1, which he's not aware of the location of, and the TVP, which looks like it just spotted him. So again, he's just being cognizant of Artie and trying to stay Artie safe. Luckily there's only one Artie per side, and waiting potentially for the TVP to come out into cover. Still unknown where the STB-1 is. So just waiting patiently here for a sign of basically where the enemy might be to make a decision of where to move further. So a bit of pinging on the map there, and there goes the STB-1. So comes out in the middle of the open, anticipates this direction. Nice shot there, both a big hit in terms of the damage, but he's lit him on fire. And you can see Artie's come in again, and he's taken a hit from the STB-1, but the TVP has just fired at him as well. But you can see that he's done a massive amount of fire damage to the STB-1, so 820 hit points of fire damage, which indicates obviously no fire extinguisher. So either he's running food or he just used it and basically it was on cooldown. So that's certainly given him a boost in terms of his hit points and brings him up to 5k of damage. He's also getting a reasonable amount of assistance here, so he's got over 1,000 hit points of assisted damage through spotting. And now he's just moving up towards the castle here. Now again, those two enemy tanks are there, but he's just working out, as long as he stays unlit, he can move across here and be relatively safe both from Artie and from any tanks in the town. And he's got some support from the Striv here, who's basically said he'll support, which has been acknowledged, so that's good. That's the communication system at work there. Anyway, moving up the hill here, potentially he'll catch one of those tanks basically looking out over the town, not prepared because he's been unlit. So just coming around the corner, and you can see there's the TVP, basically just notices him as he comes around and lights him up, but manages to get a good hit. And in fact the TVP goes down to the FE4005, of which there are actually two on both sides, so yeah, quite a fair bit of hit points capability there. Now he's just moving up further, just keeping an eye on the enemy direction to see whether he'll get spotted by anything or whether in fact anything's got a shot at him. And just approaching this spot very carefully, that just knowing where the tank destroyers are. In fact, well, there goes one of them. Look, it's still a close game though. They're only one tank in advance, so they do have a significant hit point advantage though, but this game is still pretty much in the balance. So it's here to be won or lost based on decisions that get made at this stage of the game. So Bandito is being super careful here. Doesn't want to just charge across the open field, which would be pretty suicidal. You've got this TDB-1 out there somewhere, which has got a pretty accurate gun, and it's a medium tank, so not only can it relocate quickly, but it can shoot pretty accurately. In fact, the Striv has just spotted it, but the Striv has been taking hits from this TDB-1 as he's been advancing across there, and I don't think that's going to turn out well. Now again, this was a good reason for not advancing there, was the E3. They put a shot in there that didn't penetrate, but it was a pretty rush shot there, and in fact the STB-1 has taken out the Striv, so that didn't work out well for that player. But the STB-1 is now spotted moving to the centre of town there, and Bandito is just coming around the corner here to see whether he can pick up any further sign of any of the other tanks or the Artie, now that he's got the view range coverage of that section. But it is a slope there, so if you're behind the hard cover, then yeah, unless you're within a very close proximity, then you won't get spotted. So he's just coming out here. One of the acid tests, of course, is do you get spotted? So just testing it and seeing that he's not spotted, and waiting for whether STDB1 has moved back to its original position. And he's going, notice that the mouse is now exposed. Can he get some assistance there? No, mouse gets taken out by the RT and the FVs. Has he got another shot on the E3? Just stops showing his side for a second, puts a shot in with HE, and that does a nice amount of damage there, 330. Very good result, probably top roll for a non-penetrating hit there. And is he keeping HE loaded? He is still, probably for the STDB1. So the STDB1 was pretty much on around 200 hit points, or 100 odd. So he's down. In fact, there he's spotted. What is he on? 122. So yep, that's good reason to keep your HE shell loaded. And is he going to be hit by Artie again? That's the question. The artillery was sort of coming from that area down where he's facing. So even with the castle building in the way, still a bit of risk there. But again, he's still got enough hit points now that he knows the location of the remaining tank destroyers and they're not facing him. In fact, the E3 goes down, so they're whittling them down now. They've got a 2-tank advantage. This game is now looking like a win. And he's doing what you don't normally do in a heavy tank, which is chase the medium. Now he does get lit there. Looks like that was the FV4005. And as soon as I said that, he gets vaporized by FV4005 on Bandito's team. So definitely coming up to win there. Where is this TB1? Now is he doing a chase around the center here with Bandito? And does Bandito need to stop and turn and go the other way? I don't think so, because he probably would have been spotted by the tanks in town. They would have had a bit of vision there with cleared buildings between them. Or has he gone up the, basically up the one line and sneaking up around the side? Or in fact there he is spotted right up in the north. Looked like he's going for Artie, and the artillery takes him out. Probably a shotgun operation there. So only the artillery left on the enemy team now, 14 to 10, and what we've got 6,000 hit points of damage already, and 2,000 of assisted damage. So looking like a good result there for Bandito Jr. Now, where is our artillery? Is he running away, or is he going to try and kill himself? And in fact, there he goes. Looks like he's walked up to a building and just blasted an HE shell and killed himself. So not a great outcome there, but nonetheless a victory. And let's go and have a look at the results. So it was a well-deserved ace tanker game there from Bandito Jr. He picked up a number of bonds and a decent amount of experience there, which probably from the 5 times that's going on at the moment. Confederate Award for damaging the most tanks that were then killed by his teammates. You can see the number of tanks there, the damage quite significant. Probably just missed out on a high caliber award. He did end up with top damage, but you need to do at least 20% of the total hit pool. Now 1240 base experience, so just basically leading from the front and doing that amount of damage, well supported by the 2 FV4005s, each getting significantly over their own hit points there, and even the RT contributed 4k of damage there, and the other team, the E3, did the most, supported by the mouse. So again, it was a pretty even game right across there. So 13 shots fired, 11 hit and 5 penetrated, but that was good shell selection there, knowing that they weren't going to penetrate at all if you had the wrong shell type. Got 2.5k of assisted damage there, so 8.6k of combined damage, and all around a great result there from Bandito Jr. So thanks for the content, and any comments